now I'm a supervisor. And I have my whole timeline done, right? And my artists have been working, I'm busy working on the whole thing. And you can see what I have here is all my plates, and I also have all the shots. I have already colored them based on what is ready for review. So in my office, actually, what happens is anything that is approved is green, anything that is in process is actually orange, anything that is not approved is actually red. So if I zoom a little bit, you can see the different things. One of the really cool things of the new color system that we added in 11.2 is the ability to add it into the version. So if I actually come into this shot, I can very, very easily look at the version, and you can see how the versions went. And I can see out of 10 versions, I actually got, it wasn't until version 4 that the director actually was happy with the direction that we were going, with the graphics that we were putting on the shot. So I can actually go and say, go to version 1, right? And that was the plate. So let's actually zoom into that. I can go into version 2 and check that. Okay, great. Version 3, director's still not happy. Version 4, okay, the guy starts going happy, and now I have a direction where to go. And if I keep moving, you're gonna see how this is just iterations of the same graphics until I get to my final delivery shot that got approved. So that is how I can actually track all my shots and everything as a supervisor. I can have a very easy way of reviewing what is happening with the arts and how I actually have the whole thing. And again, because I can connect this to my pipeline, I can make sure that everything is tagged. It could be done by a coordinator, or it could be done by me directly in here. Another thing that is quite nice is we updated the way we search in the project bin and into the spreadsheet. One that I find interesting that no one knew before, or that they didn't know exactly, is that you can actually search using tags. I can take my tag and I want to say, you know what? I want to check all the shots that are awaiting approval. So I'm going to drag that awaiting approval into my search properties here on my spreadsheet, and I'm going to drop that in. And now I have all my shots that I have for approval. I can grab the shots, and if I can see which shots they are, or I can do something else. I can actually do alt-click onto any shot, and that's going to take me to that shot directly. So I can very quickly go and start reviewing which shot I need to go and review as a supervisor that day. What do I have ready for me? And obviously I can just press play. Press play, I said. There you go. And I can press play, and that's my playback going in. Again, I'm playing 4K, and I'm playing out of the open drives directly. So very quickly I can do all my searching, all my review. The other thing that we did with the searching is if you want to find things, sometimes in this project I have around 1,500 clips in and out, some around those numbers, and I have a lot of shots. So one of the things that we added for the searching is the ability to match criteria in different ways. So I can actually go and say, you know what, I want to review sequence 8. So I'm going to say S08, and I'm starting to get clips directly. But the thing is, sequence 8 also belongs to all the plates, or the animation plates, or these other bits and pieces. So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to put a space, and I'm going to say underscore comp. And now I know that all the things that are related to comp are starting to show in there. But there's still too many. And the reason why is because I'm finding for any criteria. So it's looking for anything that has S08 or is underscore comp. So there's a lot of stuff that could match to that. Could be the name actually of the raw material. So I can actually say, no, I want to match all the criteria. And directly, I just got all the shots that are related to my comp versions for that show. You can even include the file format. So I can actually go and say, you know what? I only want EXRs. Oh, I don't have EXRs on that. Oops. There you go. So I only want to review the QuickTime. So I can very quickly, very easily filter up and maybe create a new sequence out of the shots that I want to see. So I can take that, create a new sequence, drop that, and start playing that back straight away onto my edit. So that is most of the stuff I want to show you. I'm missing something that I know, so I'm going to check what is that I'm missing, because I always miss something. There's always on my brain that I always miss. Yes, there is a very important thing that I wanted to show you. As a supervisor, normally, I'm reviewing shots with a director or with the VFX supervisor from the next company. And normally that happens through SDI or through a main monitor out. So I'm going to set up my monitor out very quickly. So I'm going to go into Window, and I'm going to find my monitor out. And I'm going to set it up as a floating window. And I'm going to go and set it up as, let's say, rec. And let's find that window. There you are. Come back. There you are. So now I have my whole show, and I can look at it here. And clearly, if I press play, I'll then be looking at that in the monitor out. Now, there is something that we did. We did a lot of work on monitor out, and it's how I want to do comparison of things. How can I not just look at the image, but how can I look at comparing different shots? I want to compare the previous version to the new version. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my monitor out somewhere so it doesn't bother me for a bit. There you go. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I want to compare the versions of my shot, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and say open in project bin, project view, there you are. So if I clear my search, there you are. I have my actual clip. I can also open my clips in something called version bins. So if I right click, I can do open in version bin. And now I have all my versions of that given clip. That allows me to then take any of those and drop them into the viewer and compare them with the shot that I'm doing. So I can say, let's actually compare this to one of the pre-approved, non-approved shots. So I can grab that and drop it into the B buffer. And I have the A buffer and the B buffer, so I can load different things onto my viewer. I'm going to drop it there, and you can see that now I have the two clips. A good way of doing this always is actually using my horizontal, for example, so I can compare the two shots side by side, and I can actually move. Now, what people don't realize, and I have seen a lot of people having issues with this, is that you can control the play hits separately for these two play hits. And how do you do that? Well, you just need to click on one of the two sides, and you'll be able to see that. Now, the best way of doing that is by using actually the color picker. And the reason why is because it shows you which timeline you're actually looking at. So if I actually go and look, now I can control my right one. So I'm looking at my B buffer, and I can control which frame I want to see. So let's say I want to look actually when she's looking forward. I want to see her looking front. And I'm going to go and control my A buffer, and I can go and find my shot that I was working on. And I can go and say, you know what? I think it's shot S9. So I'm going to go into S9. Let's just alt click, and I'm on my shot here. So now I can go and compare the two shots. I can zoom on them, right? Can do different things. The important bit of this is that I can actually do this through the monitor out, which we have improved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get out of full screen mode very quickly. And I'm going to just make my Nuke Studio smaller if I can. Come on. Just going to go on the if there you are. So I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to make Nuke Studio a little bit small here. Let's put that on frame. Let's put that hold. There you are. So what I'm going to do is quite quickly, I'm just going to go and set my monitor out to not the active viewer, but I want to set it up to my A and B. And what it's going to allow me to do is show everything that is happening on my viewer, on how it is happening. So if I actually go in here, I'll be able to see my two shots. I'll be able to zoom in, check the different detail throughout the shot, and see what is happening. So you can always use the A and B to do that and being able to compare between the two things. Again, I'm actually playing back 4K and the whole thing, so I can actually go, do this, play back, come back, and see the two things. Zoom into the different places. I'm going to go back into the B, and I'm going to go and look at the right shot, right? So that is how you can use the monitor out to do your review. Obviously, in this case, I don't have an SDI out, so I cannot show you in a separate monitor. That's due to the projections and things. But you know how the setup goes. So it's the idea of being able to do this with your teams on dailies, or with your director on a full review, or with the other VFX supervisor from another company doing it through any connections.